to acknowledge the first-time deer hunters who came to my home county of Schoharie in upstate New York and sparked an open-air forum where children could learn to spell their very first word. I grew up in a very tiny town. There's only 2,000 people still in the village of Richmondville, New York. Right next door to Richmondville, there's a little hamlet called Warnerville. Now, Warnerville had this Pee-wee's Diner. You know those old aluminum trailers? Yeah, it was the great place to go if you wanted to get what the locals called a good cup of black tar coffee. And it is the beverage you wanted to drink before you headed out to the mountains to do some deer hunting. And it was also the perfect place to come back to get another cup of coffee, gain some energy, and have some breakfast. Now, it was also the perfect place because Pee-wee's Diner, all the parking was out in front. So you would pull in your SUV or your truck, and all of those kills would be on display for everyone on Route 7 who passed by. Now, if the sheriff took a liking to one of those animals, oh, he'd pull in his cruiser and he would just acknowledge the person who had taken down that kill. Happened on this day. Oh, the sheriff came by and there were all of those trucks and SUVs, all those kills pointing out towards Route 7. And as he passed by, he spotted the most majestic of animals. And he knew that he had to meet whomever had taken down this grand beast. He pulled his cruiser into Pee-wee's Diner. He got out, straightened his belt, tucked in his shirt, and went over to this big gray Suburban. He patted that animal on the head and he ran his hand all the way down the body. Oh, it was a lovely creature. He went into Pee-wee's Diner and he had to find out exactly to whom this kill belonged. He spotted them right away. There were two deer hunters sitting up at the counter, and they were dressed in brand new camouflage from head to toe. They looked like they had stepped out of the pages of the Sears Roebuck catalog. He went over and sat beside them. They were eating their breakfast and they were drinking that coffee. Sheriff orders up one of those coffees too. He takes a sip. So, first time deer hunting? Well, yes, sir, it sure is. Boy, that was a great guess. How did you know? Just had a feeling. Just had a feeling. Took another sip of his coffee. That your gray Suburban out there? Oh, yes, it is. Boy, you're going 2 for 2. Uh-huh. Yep. Takes another sip of that coffee. So, got a question for you. Well, sure, anything. You ever seen a deer before? Well, yes, sir, we certainly have. We took a training class. They showed us pictures. Uh-huh. Oh, he took a long sip that time. Got another question for you. So, the color of that animal happen to bother you at all? Well, you know, at first it kind of did, but, you know, we didn't let it stop us because we knew that if we were going to take down this animal, we had to take our opportunity. Uh-huh, yep. Take your opportunity. Took another sip. Got another question for you. Does the fact that that animal did not have any antlers. Now, did that bother you at all? Well, you know, at first it did, but then we remembered that deer lose their antlers at a certain point. Yeah, they do. I gotta give that one. They sure do. Got one last question for you. So, does the fact that animal you have on the top of your Suburban happens to be the prize bull of one of our local farmers, now does that happen to bother you at all? With that, all of the blood drained from the faces of those deer hunters because they had to go back and reimburse that farmer for that prize bull that they had taken down. And not only that, but they also had to reimburse him for offspring that would come from that bull. Well, that farmer who owned that bull at one time decided that he had to go on the defensive. So we went down to the local feed and seed. There are these big old grease pens that you can get, and you mark your livestock with them. He got 2 big boxes. He went out to his pasture, and with those grease pens, he wrote these 3 letters, be it stud, steer, heifer, or cow. C-O-W. On both sides of his entire herd. And so when parents would drive past that pasture and their children were sitting in those vehicles, they would look out and say, "Oh, look, Mama, C-O-W. That's a cow." And the mothers would say, "Yes, my dear, that is definitely a cow."